let's talk about why it is we always fail. I can't stress this enough when I cover the topic on why we fail. We have to ask ourselves, are we truly in the wrong when we set a goal so far out there that our own family members tend to call us crazy or insane? Every time it's the same story, day in and day out. Simply because the other party could not achieve their hopes and dreams, and now they've settled. All they do, instead of being that cheerleader to say, you can do it, I'm rooting for you, they just say all the negatives that can possibly go wrong. Once upon a time, there was a thought that I can be in a different place instead of where I was growing up. And every time that I went to that place, I found peace and tranquility. But then reality sat, and life was difficult. Do you have a sense of what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the time when you're little, that you go to your room, close the door, play some music, lay on your bed, take your toys out, bring out a piece of paper, start drawing, start writing. But you're in your room, in your own little space, just you and your thoughts. Do you remember that time? That was your world. You were the king. You had power. You had value. You were unstoppable. But then life hits. And now you feel small, insignificant. Am I talking to you? Do I have your attention yet? Can you imagine if someone took the time to teach us about relationships, how successful relationships could be? Could you imagine if someone took the time to teach us about how to be a parent, how successful we would be? When we talk about relationships, we talk about relationships between a man and a woman. We talk about relationships between a person and their congregation, as far as whatever religion you're into. We talk about we talk about relationship as far as the relationship you have with your children. Can you imagine how far we would be? But instead, we just live that same template over and over. It's like a record that's been scratched, and no matter how many times we re-record that nice, beautiful tune, there's still that one section that is either missing, damaged, or is just not playable. You might be having a bad day, but your coworker is having a great day. You see how not all the worlds are the same? But yet nobody taught us about failure. And failure is okay. Because through failure, we will now have the proper data in order to ensure that the next couple of moves that we make forward are going to be calculated and geared towards success instead of just spinning the wheel in place and not getting nowhere. And I can't stress it enough when I tell you, yeah, you could have millions of jobs going at once. You can be in charge of millions of things at once. But what's the point of having that responsibility of being in charge of many things happening all at once if none of them are being done, none of the tasks get completed, and at the end of the day, you're still tired, if not in the same spot, but worse off than when you first began on that venture, you know? Take, for instance, the value that we give ourselves. I'm an 80s kid, so I remember a commercial that had a bit, and I'll never forget, it says, "The mind is a terrible thing to waste." Fast forward to 2024, and it's true. You got to be careful with your mind, because what you think is what you can create. You can take it as a metaphor, or you can stop, reflect on where you're at today, and see what that phrase was all about. We want to go through life nagging, complaining, then you're going to find all the negatives in order for you to achieve that goal. But if you want to go through life believing that success is a couple steps away from how you're moving towards it, success will find you. But again, what is success? Is success having $1 million in my bank account? Or is success having all the love that I need from my children in this thing called the emotional bank? For every move that I make forward and every positive gesture that I give my offspring, the goal is, as a father, to make sure that your children will be there for you emotionally, to give you that hug, maybe a couple words of encouragement, maybe, but ultimately our children should not have to deal with us in the sense of having to put up with our outstanding balances in life, whether they'd be physically or mentally, spiritually. Our offspring is supposed to live their lives for themselves. As parents, you're supposed to cross your T's and dot your I's. So when that time comes that your story ends, your balance sheet is clean and clear. You're not supposed to leave them with any type of burden. You're not supposed to leave them with any type of confusion. Instead, everything on your balance sheet should be squared away. Most of the time, people don't understand what it takes to make life happen in a beautiful way. So, when we sit and we thrive to be better than what we were, that's when we need to understand that life is beautiful, but you cannot leave anything unsaid, because again, that will cause a lot of division in what little beautiful family you're trying to leave in this crazy place called life. So when failure occurs, do not worry, do not fuss. You'll be okay at the end of the day. Don't be too quick to move forward to get nowhere fast. Remember that. Don't stop. Don't quit. Keep moving forward.